Ooh. Look at that little face. Look at that little face. Well, hello. It's a while since we've done this. Welcome back, everybody, to One Good Scare for your usual shits and giggles of scariness and ghosts and goblins and all the movie and scary horror news.
Spooky shit.
Spooky shit. Spooky shit indeed. How are you, James? Are you well?
I'm very good. Every time we do this, it feels like it's been ages since we do this, and there's always like a ton of news. So I'm happy to be here. I'm loving it.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I'm happy to be. I'm happy you're happy to be here. I'm happy
we
to
have
be.
We have seen each other in person since
Far
the
too
last
much.
episode. Yeah.
Far too much.
So
Let's be honest.
we had a good time. We had a whole week together, which was very nice, I thought. Yeah.
It was lovely seeing everyone on it. It was nice seeing everyone. Yeah. No, we did. We had a great time. We spent a long time together. That's probably the longest I've spent with another meal without my wife. That sounds wrong.
Being
Without my wife
present.
being present. Yeah.
Without my wife watching.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see who we've got in the chat because we've got tons of people watching, James. There's two of them. We've got Jeff. Nice to see you, Jeff. I hope you are well, my friend. And we've got Fuzzy of the Dunlop. Here we go. My two favorite influencers. Spooky shit. Oh, we've lost a viewer. We don't know what viewer. We've got Fuzzy watching. Nice to see you, Fuzzy. This is just for you, Fuzzy. This is just for you. Oh, we've got Terry's joining. Terry, that's a new image of Dead Man, isn't it? I haven't seen that one before. I like that. Yeah, very cool.
I dig it.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, let's crack on because we have got lots to get through. If you've not seen the show before, we will be covering all the latest horror-related news. We're going to touch a little bit on toys and action figures, and then we're also going to be touching on some comic books. There's a couple to talk about, and we've got some stuff to show off because me and James both got commissions from a phenomenal artist called John Pearson, and they've arrived today.
So you have it?
Very lucky. I should have brought the box. The postman delivered it's like a standard comic mailer. The label was ripped off and just hanging off, and it looks like it had been walked over because there was like black mud footprints all over. I thought, shit, the bed. But the books have survived, so we'll look at them.
I'm excited to see yours.
You saw mine all last week, and then we've got at the end of the show we've got our usual topic to talk about. Fuzzy's saying he counts as 10 normal 20. Fuzzy, 20
I would say infinite. We don't need anybody else. But anyone else watching, we appreciate you too.
I mean, Terry. We're doing
also,
Terry.
My dad gives out that I don't tell people to subscribe enough, so I'm just going to ask. Hey, we do this every 2 weeks.
Does your dad
usually
watch
when we're
this,
not doing stuff? He says he does. I think he watches the first and then skips to the end.
Let's be fair. I mean, is it like
I wouldn't watch it if I was him.
Or does he watch like Efren says he watches? Do you know what I mean? Because Efren, every time we talk to Efren, he tries to get to explain how we recorded videos, doesn't he? And he still doesn't seem to.
He might be making an educated guess.
You're on screen when you're talking about it? No, Efren.
So
no.
both of you are there.
Yeah. In the same
and one talks and then the other talks. Yeah.
Bless him. Anyway, let's crack on because we've got lots of stuff. If you are watching, Mr. Keegan, nice to see you. Nice. Okay. Lots of news to get through. Oh, Jesus, look at that chin already. Look at that chin. Yeah. The homoerotic talk is getting a bit much if Papa Keegan watches. He may be.
I didn't think of that. No, there's no way he watches then because he would make fun of me for that.
Would he? Yeah. First bit of news. We've got I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's not a remake, is it? It's a continuation. It's a new story.
Legacy sequel, I believe. Yeah.
Follow up. Tell a bit about that, Keegers.
I'm very excited for that. So the series, I'm not sure if this counts the second. I know it doesn't count the third movie. So like, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which followed with the first one, which also had like a Hookman killer, and then the third one did a weird thing. It was like a Bloody Mary supernatural thing. I think it's called I Always Know What You Did Last Summer. It's notoriously bad. So I consider one of the worst movies ever made. So this is obviously picking up, I would imagine, from the second film. I'm excited to see that is the Hook man. I can't remember what the villain's called in it. Back again.
I'm right in thinking because it's years and years. I think these are films that I've watched once and not gone back and rewatched. But he's like a fisherman kind of outfit. He's got like a wet coat and a hat.
The fisherman, yeah, I think that's what they call him. Yeah. So in the first one, it's the guy it's a bit convoluted. I think it is the guy.
Yeah,
that
let's not.
We'll
rewatch them ready for the film. I know I've seen the first one. I know I've seen the second one where they're on like an island or something.
Yep.
And then I think
like a resort.
Yeah, I've not watched any after that.
Yeah, there's only one more after that, but yeah, just seeing this, I'm just like, oh, just a classic slasher thing. We're going back. I think this is like a beautifully composed photograph as well. We've done like almost every episode. I feel like we're doing kind of one of these like clackerboard stills of like this thing starting shooting. They put a lot of effort into this one, so I dig it. I think this looks really cool. I'm very excited.
In terms of we're classic horror serial killer type weapons, I have to say a hook is the one that really does it for me. I don't know why. I think it's more skin crawly than just a knife. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's a shot in the second one where I think it's Jack Black, and he gets like a hook through his hand.
Jack Black.
If my memory is that it is Jack Black, and he's like a stoner guy in the second movie.
Naturally, yeah.
Yeah, he's like he like minds the boats, and he's like smoking a doobie, and he gets the hook through the hand, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, eyeballs and shit like that. Very cool. Yeah. Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah, I think I had it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The new ident for the Lee Bermejo cover of Batman smells Robin Laden Egg. 1990 TC rubbish. Probably it was a cover by Terry. You've lost his
I've no frame of reference for this. I'll take it.
Oh, you sorry? I'm with you. I think he's talking about his new cover image, the new image of Dead Man. There is that what that's from?
Okay.
The new ident is from the. Yeah, got you. We're with you. We're with you, Terry. We're with you. Moving on. Oh dear.
So we very briefly, because this broke during our last episode, so we talked about. But I'd like, we kind of did it in our wrap up. I'd like to kind of flesh for a minute on this one. So, Bloody Disgusting is producing. I remember seeing in Terrifier 3, Bloody Disgusting, like the news website. So they produced Terrifier 3, and I remember at the start of the film, like when it came up in the logo, it was like Bloody Disgusting. I didn't know they actually like produced this. So they are teaming up with a filmmaker. Okay, I'll get it up now. But anyway, they're doing a new, like a reimagining of Silent Night, Deadly Night. Now, we're both very big fans of this film.
Yeah,
we did this last year for I'll Be Right Back. You excited for this?
I am. I mean, I like the original. Do I think it needed a remake? I'm not sure.
But there's already been a remake. We've already had one from like 2000.
It's up to number 6 or something, isn't it? There's like tons of sequels and things.
There's I think 4, and then a remake. So this will be the 6th one.
Yeah.
So
hi Connie.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Mike P. Nelson, who did the Wrong Turn remake and the VHS 1985.
Yeah.
Very good director. They're both considered quite good movies. I know VHS is like pretty acclaimed. So yeah, I think this will be very Terrifier-esque, and I think that's a good. It's a good like.
As long as they stick with the classics, do you know what I mean? I want to hear him saying, naughty, and stuff like that, like he does.
I feel like that can go or punish.
Punish. No, that needs to stay. That needs to stay. Yeah, and I want to see the poor policeman get shot as well at the end for no good reason. Just for
because they say reimagining, it's not a remake, so it will be like. And my hope is that they commit more to the kind of seriousness of like it's a film about trauma. We were quite surprised. I remember how serious the movie is and like some of the issues that it tackles in terms of like mental health and depression. And
the starting sequence is really rough, isn't it? With the family being murdered in front of them and things like that.
Yeah. And like trauma and like is a big part of it. So I would like to see it like lean more into that, but I also like the kind of kooky, silly slasher bits. So I in the modern day, can you meld those two things well together? Terrifier did a good job, I think. So like I hope this does well. I'm stoked for this, and this will probably come up. This won't be too far away, I think, as well. They'll probably get this by Christmas 2026, I would think.
Yeah, interesting. I don't want it to go Terrifier kind of stupid in terms of kind of supernatural. I like the idea of just
I would think the gore, it'll be very gory, because like that first one, I remember like the shot of your one getting stuck onto the antlers.
Oh, the antler bit was a bit rough.
She was at For the Love of Horror. The actress. I didn't even realize it was her. Yeah, she did the Night of the Demons. She was like for that. So you saw her on stage.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that because we're talking about Night of the Demons, and I think I was just nodding along. I don't think I've ever seen Night of the Demons.
No, I've not.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This will be canny. I do like the original. It's one of those kind of classic horrors, I think. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. James, every bloody time you have to
news.
Even if there's not news, you have to put a Scream slide in. So we've got more casting for Scream.
We do. We're ramping up at the moment. So I will just get the names up on the thing. So anyway, this actress on the left is from the Yellowstone series. So like,
I don't watch that. I've heard Terry might watch that in the chat. I've heard really, really good things about that. I think is it Kevin Costner? I think was in the original.
But then there's like a Harrison Ford Western like prequel, and then there's different time jumps and stuff. So Isabel May. So she's playing Sidney Prescott's daughter. Which is interesting because the only child of Sidney Prescott we know of in Scream 5, which is set in 2022, we see a child in a pram. So presumably Sidney has an older daughter, but she doesn't have a daughter in Scream 4, which is 2011. So she must have had a daughter in between that just never referenced.
Who's Sidney's husband? Have we seen Sidney's husband?
It is in Scream 3, Patrick Dempsey plays a detective. And so they got married. They don't get married. They get married after Scream 4 at some point. So like they separated and then like got back together, and then had kids. So yeah, this is like unless this is set in 15 years in the future, this is like a daughter that we don't know about. Interesting story implications. I think my sort of pitch for this movie was that it would be Sidney like I wanted it to be a Christmas film and make it like Sidney protecting her family on Christmas Eve or something like that. I think that'd be really cool. So yeah, curious, like, having Sidney's daughter. It'll make an interesting story element and something different, I think, for that, like, in terms of, like, Sidney's role in the film. So that'll be interesting. Then Celeste O'Connor, so from Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, she's also in Afterlife, isn't she?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
She's the podcaster one, isn't she? Yeah. I really like this actress, so I'm excited to see her. And then Asa German, who is from The Boys, who I'm already on. I would clock him as the killer in it. Like he has that kind of look to him.
He's in the spin-off to The Boys, isn't he? He's absolutely.
Sorry, not The Boys. Yeah, Gen V. Yeah,
Gen V. He's absolutely superb in that. He plays a serial killer. So you've gone with him as the killer straight away. Fuzzy's already called it. She looks guilty already. Calling it now. I
think it'd be Sidney's daughter. So
that would be an interesting twist.
Yeah, she wants to like. She's upset. Well, we sort of got a thing like that, like Sidney's cousin, like a lot younger cousin in 4 was the killer. So I think you would just be doing that again if you did make it the daughter. I would say like it's
linked. I said this to you last time. I don't want it linked to any of them anymore. It's getting ridiculous. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Because this poor woman, this one woman. Every frigger she ever meets is a homicidal serial killer who's linked to her cousin's auntie's dog groomer who shagged her husband or something. And it's getting a bit too convoluted now. Do you know what I mean? Okay. It's just just make it a normal person that's got no tangible kind of link other than you're famous, Sidney, I want to kill you. Do you know what I mean? I don't need it to be a cousin's brother, sister, or anything like that.
That's fair. So like in the second one, it's sort of a revenge thing because it's Billy's mom. In the third one, it's her long lost brother, which I thought was stupid. In the fourth one, it's her cousin. Then 5 is sort of not related to her really. She's not really.
What if it's the brother's daughter, not really Sidney's daughter? It's his stepdaughter.
I mean, possibly, maybe it's like Romans, but then again, you're doing the family thing again. I don't want it to be the family thing. But yeah, my hope is it's Stu. Like, just bring Stu back. If you're not going to do it this time, you're not going to do it this time. You're never going to do it. So like,
get over it, man. Get over it.
I would say Asa German will probably be the like prime suspect throughout the film, but it's not actually going to be him. Like he even looks a lot like Billy from the original film. So. We'll see.
Efren keeps threatening to do a show with Luke from Hydra Collectibles called One Better Scare. Yeah,
good
interesting.
Luck. Good, a lot of work,
Efren. Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
I think we're ramping up to filming now, though. Like, we're getting casting announcements every other day. So excited to see who else is going to be coming back for that. I don't think Patrick Dempsey's actually been cast in it, so I hope he's back at some point.
Yeah. Connie's with you. Bring Stu back. I would love to see Stu back, but I kind of just feel like they've teased and tantalized him so many times now. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
it's how you win the fans back, I think, because people are still a bit pissy about what happened with Melissa Barrera. So
I wonder if we'll get Dewey in a flashback or something.
That'd be nice, I think. Courtney Cox is also in this as well. So, like, how is she gonna turn into it?
Frankenstein.
First look at Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein film. I think this is for Netflix. Yeah, you can't pronounce. I've heard you try and pronounce it. Yeah. I like the visuals. I like it's very kind of like House of the Clock in its Walls sort of kind of vibe to it. I think it looks cool.
But that one better scary one than another Scream movie. Yeah. So no, this looks interesting. I'm excited for this. I'm glad we're getting some of the classics back. We've got 2 Wolfmen films this year. Then we're getting a Frankenstein. We're getting a couple of Draculas. Nosferatu is getting phenomenal reviews. So yes. I'm really looking for. I think that comes out around Christmas time over here.
So it's Christmas Day in America. I think it's not out until January here. So if it's out Christmas, we'll do our end of year movie and try and include it. But
Christmas Day in America, how am I seeing so many friggin' YouTubers reviewing it at the moment?
So YouTubers who are higher up than us, Peter, get invited to like
is that possible
and stuff like that. You know?
That'll be too good.
We've been on one better scare probably gets invited.
One better scare scene of that.
We've been in that circle. We got to the Thanksgiving preview.
We did.
So
we did.
Yeah,
we did. You're right.
We would need 2 separate like invitations though, because you'd have to go to a British one and I go to an Irish one.
Yeah. Do you have cinemas? Yeah. No, I think this looks good. I think this looks really good. Interesting. Cannot wait to see it. I just
very good cast though. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. I just realized I didn't clock the head over in the corner there on the table.
Oh, I didn't either.
Never noticed that.
Yeah. So just to run through the cast, in case you've forgotten, Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein, Jacob Elordi from Saltburn as Frankenstein's monster, Mia Goth, Christoph Waltz, Lars Mikkelsen, Charles Dance, Ralph Ineson, the fantastic cast. So this is for Netflix, but I assume this will come out in cinemas for a week or 2 beforehand. So stoked for this.
Mia Goth's in everything at the moment, isn't she? She's doing some great stuff. Yeah, looking forward to seeing this one. Ooh, you've added this slide in, you sneaky little devil.
I did. I snuck it in because it came out today. 28 years later, got its first poster. Not much to say about it really, but it's like, oh, cool. I'm looking forward to this one. I thought Cillian Murphy was starring in this, but he's not named there. So is he starring in it? I'm pretty sure he's in it, but he must.
He's in it, but
I thought he was the main character in it.
Maybe he's not. I bet he gets bumped off at the start.
No, I think he'll come in like 2/3 through it, like to help out, to help the heroes, and then he'll die towards the end because Cillian Murphy usually dies and things. But Ray Fiennes is great, Aaron Taylor Johnson's great, Jodie Comer I like. So
I need to go back and watch the first 2 movies because it's yet again a long time since I've seen these films.
I think I've only seen one sequence from the second one. I think I've only seen the opening.
Am I right? Let us know in the chat. Robert Carlyle's the main character in one of them, isn't he? Is it Robert Carlyle in one of them?
Yes, he's in the second one. Him and Jeremy Renner, I think, are the 2 mains.
I didn't realize Jeremy Renner was in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of his earlier movies.
I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, so this will be good. I'm looking forward to this. And thank you,
Jodie Comer. Is that what's Jodie Comer in again?
No, I don't know that name. I have to be honest.
I know her.
Let one know in the chat if you know who Jodie Comer is.
There's like 3 different actresses that I mix up together. I think Jodie Comer is one of them. She is in Killing Eve, Free Guy. Yeah, she's the Free Guy.
Yeah.
She's really good in that.
Yeah.
She was for Sue Storm as well. Second up for it. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. SM, I can't deal with the first scene in the first movie, like leaving shit alone. Yeah.
Right.
The premiere for Nosferatu was in November. Right, that's why, Fuzzy. That's why there's so many reviews out. Yeah.
Our invitation must have got lost, I think.
Yeah. Efren and Luke probably went. Number 2. That's all I recall from the second movie. I just seem to remember that scene that gets put everywhere of them kind of running with all the things chasing
in the
them.
hills. Yeah.
But I need to go back and rewatch them. Can't remember them at all, really. Predator. So this is Predator Badlands. And we got the news that Predator's the don't want to say good guy, but it's focusing on him.
The protagonist, like he would be the main, the predator of the movie is the main character, which they've not really, I don't, from my memory, haven't really done before. So I think that's an interesting take. Part of me is a bit like, oh, because I was hoping for just Prey again, just with a different setting.
Yeah.
But I think that Dan Trachtenberg is a great director, and I think this could be interesting. You know, do you think it'd be a predator fighting other predators, or like, just from the predator's perspective?
I worry slightly because it's the human element that kind of attracts. Yes, the predators are great and stuff like that, but it can't talk and all the rest of it. So it's I don't know. I'm with Fuzzy. Fuzzy saying this feels like a step backwards. In my head, I think we've discussed it many a time. I thought the last Prey was so good. That should just be the blueprint going forward. Do you know what I mean? Everybody loved it, lapped it up. Just give word. Different predators, different timelines, standalone stories. That would have, pleased me. But I just don't know. I don't know.
I appreciate it's something different. Like that's a new spin on like the original idea for this series, and I think like it would be really cool to make a predator like a sympathetic character or like a character you're rooting for. Like that you're on the predator's side. Well, it depends on the situation because maybe he's a predator being hunted by other predators. So like maybe I hope we don't see like a predator family or something like that. Where it's like it's like a silent movie.
I go back to the comic book side of things. I've said this loads of times before. I hate the fact Marvel do this terribly. I hate the fact that when we've got a popular villain that's loved because it's a villain. They think, oh, we need to make more money, so let's make it a bit more friendly and turn him into a good guy or a hero. I don't want that shit. Predator's just a hunting machine, do you know what I mean? It doesn't need to have a personality. It's just in the woods or wherever, bumping people off for me.
Well, I suppose in Predators, isn't there like a predator that helps them out towards the end of the film?
I can't remember.
And then I can't remember the predator. But I think I remember there was like a predator versus predator fight in that as well. So like I don't know, maybe this would be Predator the musical. Oh, I'd watch the shit out of that. I'd love that.
Shit being the right word, I think. Yeah. Wednesday. So we've got news that Lady the Gaga is going to be joining the cast of Wednesday. We for the love of horror, there was somebody else on stage who I thought was off her head, who was joining the cast of Wednesday from Scream. What was she called again? She did a horrific Irish accent throughout the entire interview.
Heather Mazzarato. Yeah. From the Scream 3 and Scream 5. Yeah.
I like a bit of Gaga. Do I care that she's in Wednesday?
It's a big casting. I thought this was nearly done filming, so I'm surprised that there's still casting coming out. So, because it was filming here in Ireland, and there's been no like reports of Lady Gaga being seen around the place. So maybe she's like in other sequences. I think she does suit like a Tim Burton thing, though.
Yeah,
that seems like a universe like she could operate in. She has that kind of weird factor. So I think this suits her. Yeah. I don't know. Is there like an Addams Family character that like exists already that could be? Connie, you should watch A Star Is Born because she's phenomenal in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not seen A Star Is Born.
She's amazing in it. Like she's incredible.
Everything I've seen her in, she plays Lady Gaga. She's the same character. Do you know what I mean? Let her ruin her. Not a lot of Gaga love here. Not a lot of Gaga love.
Joker did damage to her. I think really did.
Can we drop the Lady Gaga name now? Grow up, love, relax a bit.
Stephanie something, isn't
it? Yeah.
I'm off the deep end.
Oh no! We're not doing that. We're not doing that, James.
So good, so good. I cried when I watched that movie.
Wednesday was a really interesting show for me because I've just hit the floor because my dogs are barking.
I noticed. Your house.
Yeah, Wednesday was a really interesting show because it was a kind of an odd mix between kind of really CWE kind of teeny stuff and then some pretty horrific scenes in it. It was quite dark at times. It seemed a bit mixed in terms of who it was aimed at,
Having just watched it recently, I loved it. I really liked the tone. Yeah. It's like it's got that kind of style. There is, I think, in terms of like the how it's paced and stuff, it is very CWE. But I think like it's got that production value. Like the visuals are great. I think there was some CG in it that was actually like for a television show quite impressive. Like Netflix obviously gives this huge budget. Tim Burton's kind of pedigree is there, to the point that I would say like that's kind of the route you should go for other franchises like Netflix is doing. I'm sorry, Peter, I'm going to mention again, but a Scooby-Doo show. And I think like this is the kind of template you should go for with that. So yeah, but like Lady Gaga, I'm surprised like considering how like massive she is. I assume this she'll be a one episode cameo kind of character. I don't think she's going to be.
I think she'll be a guest shot, won't she? Because like you say, that weird girl who was at For the Love of Horror. It sounded like they were almost finished filming. So
she's a teacher, I think.
Yeah, so to draft her in at this point,
they wrap filming in Ireland, and that's where the school is. So like most of it is done anyway.
Cool, my dogs are getting right in me tits. There we are. I've never seen this movie, James. Right?
You've never seen Idle Hands?
Nah, not got a clue. Is this something about MasterChef? Is that what this is?
No, it's
the Greg Wallace biop or something, is it? I don't know what this is.
Idle Hands is like an early 90s kind of like cult classic horror comedy film. It's Seth Green. I've not watched it in years now, but it's basically like a zombie hand. I think it goes around, starts like killing this guy's friends. So it's like it is very funny. It's been a while since I've seen it, but Finn Wolfhard, so from It and the Ghostbusters movies, the new ones. So he's teaming up with Billy Brick, who's also in Ghostbusters, and Jason Reitman, who directed Ghostbusters. So he's producing. So that team back again. I think that like in terms of the tone of Ghostbusters, I think that sort of suits this. So yeah, it is a straight up remake. So hopefully it does it well.
Is that I've forgotten his name? He plays Oz in Buffy, and he's in Austin Powers. Seth, is it Seth thingy?
Seth Green,
yeah.
And Jessica Alba, isn't it in the front? No, it's not Jessica Alba. Is it just? It's too early for Jessica Alba. Hang on. Sorry, 1999. Yeah, it is Jessica Alba, and Devon Sawa from Final Destination as well. And that's see on the left there. That's Eldon Henson from Daredevil.
I thought it was, yeah. Looks about 12.
Face. He does. He probably is about 12 at that point. Yeah. Cult classic. Like I would be excited to talk about it when this rolls around in the cinemas. To do a BR pack on it because it's a cool one. I remember liking it. I've not watched it in so long. I don't remember much from it, but like it'd be a nice one to visit again, I think.
Fuzzy thinks I'm being burgled. I'm not being burgled, Fuzzy. It's just my son likes to fight the dogs, so he'll be irritating the dogs downstairs, and he thinks it's hilarious.
Does he not know that you're a hot shot horror show to do?
There's 5 people watching. Does he not realize that? Weird girl, charming. Fuzzy, honestly, I thought she was on drugs, but then it turns out that she was filming an island, so she decided to just do an Irish accent for the entire
unbeknownst to me.
She was bizarre. I didn't even notice. Absolutely bizarre.
That she was doing an Irish accent.
Yeah. Nobody gets into the display room, Terry. It's locked down, mate. It's locked down. And then we've got this. This kind of broke as we went live last time. Tony Todd, obviously very famous for Candyman. I hadn't realised he played the Dark Flash.
Dark Flash, like quite a few comics. I think he voiced Darkseid in a few different things. He played Venom in the newest Spider-Man game as well, which is phenomenal. And so, in terms of like a titan of the horror industry, like Tony Todd is someone you would throw in the same camp as like a Bruce Campbell and a Robert Englund and a Kane Hodder. And yes, it's just a tremendous loss. Like, and just looking at like I went back through kind of some of his filmography. Final Destination as the kind of like, I think he's supposed to be Death in it, but he's like the kind of mortician character, and that always explains the rules to the characters. He was in Wishmaster, which he played the kind of bodyguard who has a phenomenal death in that film. I thought he's amazing in that. And obviously Candyman, just like one of the most iconic horror villains of all time, and only 3 movies he starred in. And he really cemented that character in kind of horror history. So it was very nice, I think, that in like Candyman 2021, that we got to see him kind of again at the very end of that movie as a Candyman. So I think that was a nice send off for him for that role. This is tremendously sad. Like,
I completely forgot he was in The Rock.
Yeah. There's a lot of bit parts. Like he's mostly known for horror, but he showed up in things here and there. You know, I think he was in one of the Night of the Living Dead movies as well. Wasn't it one of the early ones? Yeah.
Tremendous.
Little fun fact. So I was good at because like I have only become like a recent fan of the Candyman series. So I was hoping to meet him at some point. Like another, I would love to get a Venom one as well. But I did sort of get a chance to meet him. So a few years ago, I was at MCM Comic-Con, and he was there doing signatures with the Candyman director. So I knew him from Candyman. I hadn't seen it myself, so I didn't get an autograph. But later on in the day, I was there with my sister, and I was walking through the show floor, and I was like talking to her, and I bumped into somebody, and I go, "Oh, I'm sad." And I look up, and it's like because he's like 6'2", 6'3". I look up, and it's Tony Todd, and I was like, hi, Tony." I just smiled and walked off. It was just a nice little moment. So I appreciate that I have that. You seem like a lovely man.
Yeah, such a shame. Yeah. Fuzzy saying he's also in Star Trek and Deep Space Nine. Yeah, a Klingon, I think, wasn't he? Yeah, very, very cool. Nice. Okie dokie. Toys, bit of toy news. Just thought I'd add this, James. This is Fuzzy's right. Yeah, he's in Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, he's the Fallen in that, isn't he?
Yeah, he voices the Fallen.
Yeah, just an incredible voice that he had.
Yeah, as well. Very iconic voice, isn't he? Very recognizable. Yeah. So we've got the Scorched Xenomorph from the latest Aliens movie. I think this looks pretty damn cool. So this is from Hot Toys. It's got an articulated tail, interchangeable head sections. Interesting, it's got the extendable inner jaw. Now that's interesting because their original Alien, which is a figure I've got, there's a trigger on the back of its head. Basically, when you pull that, the mouth opens and the internal mouth comes out. But do you see that the rubber on the side of its mouth, the kind of the
kind of jawline kind of thing,
the jawline, the rubber stuff,
the membrane,
the membrane that stretches, and it was a horrendous material, so it snaps all the time. So most of the old ones have perished and are destroyed. So I'm wondering if they're going to change that out for this one. So Hot Toys have done a big display this last week. They're going all in with Aliens, and Predator. So there's this coming out. There's a new sculpt for Ellen Ripley. There's a sculpt for the main character in the last Alien movie. Yep. There's all kinds of stuff coming out. So some really, really good looking.
Are you annoyed that you just got a Ripley and the Hot Toys is not doing a Ripley?
No, because the Ripley I've got's all right for the price I've paid. Yeah. You know, it does what I want. I wouldn't be picking this up either because I like the original. You've not got much articulation with the original one. But I still like it. So yeah, this is going to be like 350, 400 quid. So
easily, yeah. Does this look better, do you think, like in terms of detailing and stuff? Like how old is that original Hot Toys Alien?
It looks shinier. It's the original hasn't got the kind of the red tint to the back of its head and all the rest of it.
Just the scorching or whatever.
Yeah,
fire, isn't it?
So I'm happy with the one I've got because the one I've got represents the original franchise. Yeah. Fuzzy saying the problem with Aliens and Predators, I've seen one, I feel like I've seen them all. That's very true, Fuzzy. And I guess that's why I'm not saying, I'm going to definitely get this, because the one I've got represents Alien enough for me. But yeah, it's a nice looking figure. If you haven't got an Alien in your collection, it's worth picking up, I think. And you get a face hugger with this, which is pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
I'm not into popcorn buckets, James.
I don't get why has this become such a big thing lately? Yeah. Is it just since that fucking Dune one that looked like
everyone's got a fancy popcorn bucket?
It's just the big thing now. So yeah, we're getting like a sarcophagus one for Nosferatu. I think that's a pretty cool looking one, though. To be fair, like in terms of like that's a clever idea is to go for the coffin.
It is. It looks good. It's certainly not something I would be picking up and paying for. No. But I saw this and I was thinking of you because I know you collect all of your cinema tickets. This would be a really nice box to keep all your tickets in.
Oh yeah, I currently keep them in a Daddy's Home lunchbox.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. I genuinely keep them in it. The movie Daddy's Home with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, I have a lunchbox of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually a very good idea, Peter. I might do that.
Yeah. No, as Fuzzy says, some of them are stupidly impractical. I just don't get it, Fuzzy. It's not my cup of tea.
I saw like a TikTok just today, and it was of the Gladiator one, and it's like huge. Like you put 20 buckets of popcorn in it. So I was like, why is it's literally just a mini stadium like figure, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, not for me, but pretty cool. Comics. Just before we do this, wanted to just talk about both myself and James were at Thought Bubble, as we've mentioned many times, and we saw an artist called John Pearson, who's a superb artist. Got a book coming out at the moment called In Bloom, but he did a brilliant book called The Infernals that we both enjoyed, and we both asked for a commissioned cover. So they've arrived. So James, I'm just going to make myself big and show off what we actually got. So John sent us some stickers, which are pretty cool. So you'll get a couple of those, James. He also, with each book, sent a print. So there's this one, and this was in yours, James, and I'll show you the one I've got in a second. And on the back, it's handwritten, saying thank you, John Pearson. So signature.
That's nice.
So that's oh, I've gone all blurry. Look, come back to me, Peter. Oh, there I am. So yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. So James, tell the folks at home what you went for.
So I showed the top up with a few blank covers, and I just kind of shopped around for artists, and I passed by John's. I have a few others I'll show after this, but I just passed by John's booth, and I really loved his kind of art style, and so I had an Army of Darkness blank. I gave it to him and said, "Can you do me like an ash and like an action pose?" And he's like, "I want some deadites and stuff in the back." I was like, "Absolutely, that sounds amazing."
So this is yours. Pretty damn good.
I think it looks great. When you sent me the picture initially, I had a bit of a shock, and I've just like as I've looked at the photo of it over the last few days, and I'm like, "No, I love this. This is great." Yeah. I love how like the chainsaw goes over the title.
Yeah.
I do like his because he does this on like most of his artwork. The kind of block and then the white, the character extends over the white. I think I'm stoked about this. I think it's great.
In hand, it looks really nice, James. Yeah. I still cannot really work out if it's pencil work or if it's paint. I have to be honest.
It looks pencil. It looks like a sketch.
Yeah, the splodges of white and stuff on it, which are like, do you know that guy that I got a sketch from who did some white kind of colouring on it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very nice.
Did he send it back in my top loader?
Yeah, he did. Good. So I've kept that. That's mine now. That's mine now. Yeah. So I gave him a Dracula book. So sorry, that's the card that came on mine.
Oh, that looks nice.
Yeah, which is nice. I sent him a Dracula. I gave him a Dracula book. Fuzzy is just saying the background makes that looks the part, Keegs.
Yeah,
and Terry's saying that's great. Yeah. Now I said I'd like a vampire, but I didn't tell him which vampire. I just gave him kind of free rein, and I am chuffed to bloody bits. Like that.
Oh man, that looks amazing.
So very impressed with that.
Wow.
And the lightning in the back is that kind of raised ink and white paint. I think that eye work is phenomenal. I just love it. Absolutely love it.
I'm jealous, man. That looks great. Christopher Lee, I think for me is
and you know, because we didn't say to him what we wanted. I didn't say which vampire. I just said do us some vampire. So to get Christopher, I just love it.
Awesome.
Absolutely love it. Good bit of mouth action as well. So very pleased with that. Very pleased with that. Terry is saying, let us get back off. So I'll send that through yours over to you, James. Very nice books, well worth checking them out if you see him doing commissions. Lovely guy as well. He's been talking to us backwards and forwards over the last few days. I told him we were both very happy and he was stoked. Just a lovely guy. Lovely guy. Deadman since superb. Back down, very nice commissions, gents. Is it going in the giveaway box? Absolutely friggin'.
It was pricey enough, so I think I just I went with a few horror ones, so I will just
just a second.
Show off.
Just a second. I'll just check these and then we'll jump on that. Ridiculous. That's outrageous. Ian Richardson doing a Christopher Lee Dracula, very nice Batman. And so sorry, Ian Richardson. I don't know if you've got his original art book, Batman, but I'm sure there's a Christopher Lee image of Dracula in that, and it's absolutely amazing.
He is. I dropped into the fog blank for him. I actually should message him and see what the story is with it. But yeah, he's to me the fog kind of ghost pirate thing, so I'm excited to see that.
Fuzzy's correct, as Fuzzy always is. Christopher Lee, if you ever watch any interviews with him, he's had an incredible life. He was the inspiration for Bond, which I found really interesting. And I remember watching the thing about this, about watching The Last Guillotine Execution. So great stuff.
I was just watching, funny enough, the other day. It was like interview where someone was interviewing him when he was knighted, and they said at the last part of the interview, they go, "Oh, whatever, the outro," and it's like, "Oh, he's still the king of horror," and he just goes, "The king of what?" And he goes off at her like about I've not done a horror movie in 32 years and all this. And I was like, I felt bad for the interviewer. Like, I like how like 40 was about it. So yeah, I had a few blanks. So just a couple others I got. Francesca Fantina, I believe. I got Jerry from Fright Night. Blank. I got Charlie Adler to do me a Freddy, which I like very much. Sorry, I dropped on the ground. And then I think this might be tied with the Ash now. This was my favorite until I seen the other one. But Sofia Califano, who is the artist for Elvira, I just didn't know she was going to be there, and I just happened to have an Elvira blank that I was shopping around for someone to do, and I got her to do me an Elvira.
That's amazing.
So it's like the H.P. Lovecraft
one.
So she did like a kind of a H.P. Lovecraft monster, and it's like got hey, I'm posing for a cover here. Like in hand, it looks printed on.
Yeah,
like,
it's
just so impressive. So I hope she comes back around because I'll throw her a few different.
So so obviously I gave her a blank at the con. She's still working on mine. But what I gave her was
monsters.
Yeah, I gave her a blank cover for Alex Spear's Monsters, and I said, just do as any kind of monster you want. She goes, oh, do you want Elvira? I says, do whatever the hell you want, anything you want.
Didn't she say, I don't have to do Elvira?
Yeah, I think she said, yeah. So very, very keen, very keen. Yeah. Dead Man saying he loves that, James. Efren, turn on the light, I can't see your books. Yeah. Can I have a photocopy, please? Yeah, of course. I'm sure James will do you a copy
absolutely, yeah.
Scan it in and put it on Insta or whatever for you, bud. So yeah, so some great commissions there. Speaking of comics, The Exorcism at 1600 pen. So that's the White House. Issue 1 and 2 of this is out at the moment. Charlie on the Killer Comic Show has talked about this, and I know Fuzzy's read issue 1 and 2. I hadn't read it, so I've read this today. I was really excited about this. I don't know if you've heard of this one, James, but basically the synopsis is the first female president moves into the White House, and a daughter gets possessed by a demon. Or does she? For those that have read it, there's a whole undercurrent as well about this new device that's been tested on foreign agents that drives people crazy and they jump out of windows and things like that. So I'm wondering if it's going to be linked to that at the end kind of thing. It's heavily into the kind of the satanic kind of stuff, and you do see there's some good imagery of, you can't probably see it, but that center image at the very bottom, seeing the black element, there's like red eyes, there's lots of images of that kind of stuff all over. Delves a lot into the politics. I found it boring as anything, I have to say. It I don't know, I was hoping this was going to be great. First thing I would say is the art style does nothing for us. Look at the head floating through the door at the top. It's just
fair.
Weird.
I like the kind of 3D-ness of like things sticking over the panels. I think that's an interesting kind of layout. I think the story is a bit far-fetched though, like a woman president.
Oh yeah,
I just don't think that's ever going to happen. Really. It seems like they would pick anyone else. Like, No, I like the concepts. I think that sounds interesting. I like the idea of playing with is it's a real thing or not. I've always liked that idea.
I like films. Yeah, I like the concept. It would make an interesting TV series or movie, I guess. I think the second issue was stronger than the first for me. But it's very, very heavy on text and words and stuff that just wasn't interesting, as I have to be honest. I probably will read the next issue just to see if it picks up. I don't know how many issues it is in total, to be honest. But it certainly didn't blow us away, and it certainly didn't do what I was hoping it was going to do. I thought it was going to be really, it just sadly didn't do it for us. Terry, sorry, is saying I cannot get on with this at all. Yeah, Efren started reading it, good so far. Fuzzy, I was disappointed, won't be reading on. Took me a few goes getting into the first issue. Issue 2 was slow and drawn out, I thought. Mince, not even as a cover by. Yeah, I think that's fair, Fuzzy. I struggled with it.
I really like the cover art, though. I have to say now, I like that
The covers are nice. The artwork on the covers are nice. Yeah, I'll give them that. Tried 3 times, gave up. Then 2 turned up today. I thought I cancelled. I thought 2 was marginally better than the first issue because it got more into the demonic side of stuff. But it's very laboured, you know. Ghost Machine of a book come out set in the White House. I'm more confident in that. Yeah. So yeah, not one I would wholeheartedly recommend. Sadly.
Okay.
And then we've got DC Horror. So this should be superb, but it's not. So again, I've read both of these today. This is 17 plus, so it's got lots of F words in it. Pretty grotesque horror. So like people's faces being ripped off and torn in half and things like that.
Black Label then? No.
I would have, yeah. I don't know why they're doing it. Cover work is really good and strong in these 2 issues. The tales just didn't do anything. Very, very kind of, you can predict kind of what's happening. So in the second issue,
give me the rundown. Give me the rundown of some of them.
Second issue, there's a boy who's dressed as the Val Kilmer Batman, which is quite good. Who takes his girlfriend to the set of, I think it's meant to be like a DC show or a museum or something, and they stumble across the ventriloquist dummy, which is the real prop used, or the real ventriloquist, and then the dummy comes to life and kills them. Basically, it's like very standard Child's Play kind of stuff. It is quite graphic, cuts the fingers off with an axe kind of thing. So that was there. That middle panel there is about Wonder Woman, where a mother comes back from the dead and kills some Amazons. You know that? Yeah, there's nothing blew us away. Nothing felt fresh on you. It just felt a bit dull to me.
That's a shame, because I like the idea of like a Treehouse of Horror kind of
exactly.
DC
yeah,
thing, you know, like that sounds really fun. Like
the last story in the Batman-ish kind of issue was a kind of a medium going to the Iceberg Lounge because the Penguin was being kept up at night by the ghosts that he's killed, people he's killed over the years.
Oh, okay.
And again, it was just kind of flat. Do you know what I mean? It was there was nothing new. There was nothing exciting, which is sad. A couple of people in the chat have read it. Cack writing for me. Yeah, I think that's my problem, Fuzzy. I think they've tried to be graphic and they've tried to be edgy, and just the quality of the storytelling hasn't worked for it, sadly.
Yeah.
Batman Horror 1 was utter shite. Can't bring myself to read anymore. Yeah, I think that's fair, mate. So yeah, two disappointing books, I'm afraid. Neither of which I would recommend. Yeah. Jesus.
So. Excuse me. I was so angry. I just fired my microphone across the.
I mean that's some Bo Selector shit going on there. Is that meant to look rubbish?
I don't know.
Or are they trying to stay its the face?
I think that's supposed to be his face. I don't think it's supposed to be a mask in the film. So, the what you call it, free use, copyright free. What's it called? Public domain. The public domain train is continuing. We're getting a Popeye movie, Popeye the Slayer Man. This might be the worst trailer I've ever seen. Like, in terms of, like, the sound mixing is all over the place. Just, like, the choice of clips that they put in it. Like, it really feels like...
shit.
Someone was paid a tenner to whip up a trailer in half an hour or something. Like, it's so bad. So bad. The movie itself looks dog shit. Like, just the costume looks terrible. The way it's filmed. The acting is shit. There's some like super gory effects. A lot of them just feel like they've just been ripped from Terrifier, but just not done as well, because like Terrifier had like a really talented special effects crew on it, whereas this does not, obviously. Crap. Like, just absolute utter wank.
I've not watched any of these kind of public domain horror things. I just can't. Every single, I know Winnie the Pooh 2 or whatever is meant to be good, but I just can't get over how cheap and shit they look. Because I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, if that's a bloke wearing a mask, fair enough. But in the trailer, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like this is the creature that lives in.
Oh no, I think that's the creature, because he talks a bit where he talks. I couldn't even make out what he says. No. I don't know. Was it like an iconic Popeye line or something like that. He does.
I think he said something like that, didn't he?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
He like there's even this, like, I would have thought there would have been like he's drinking something else other than spinach, like blood or whatever. Like there's not even that much creativity in it. Like I think with the grim stuff, like the fairy tale stuff, like the Winnie the Pooh, the Pinocchio, Little Mermaid kind of stuff, there feels like as they have gone on, there's been more, like they're doing a team up movie, like they're doing like an Avengers kind of thing. I feel like more effort has been put into them as they've continued, because I think like studios have seen that they can actually be profitable, whereas this is just a cash grab. Like this is just a milk. It just so bad. Like just I'm gonna make us watch this though, because I want to do a review on this one because I think it's gonna be that bad. But just wow, like just.
Why doesn't one better scare do it? Luke and I think can watch this one.
We can trick them into it. We're gonna be the first YouTubers out with this, so you better watch it. You better watch it like day one.
Yeah, looks like a bankroll where that's Fuzzy just looks cack. Now this trailer got me positively aroused. So this is Dexter First Blood. What I loved about this
is Original Sin.
Is it Original Sin or First Blood?
I thought it was Original Sin.
Might be Original
Dexter
Sin.
First Blood, not the last one.
Might be, yeah. I can't remember, James.
I think it's Original Sin anyway.
So this is set. This news came out a while ago that the main actor who plays Dexter, Michael C. Clarke, is it? Is voicing Hall. Is voicing him. But he died at the end of the last series. He was shot by his son.
Or did he?
But this basically answers that straight away. You get Dexter lying on his back in the face, same scene as he was in the last one, and he he basically says it's true what they say, your light flashes before your eyes before you die, which I think is just a great way of introducing this series. This series will end with him waking up on the hospital bed, because then we know he's got a series coming after that.
Yeah. It's a clever framing, I think. I thought this was just a straight up prequel, but I think that is actually a clever way of why it makes sense that he's narrating the entire thing. It is like a tease for that sequel series. So like obviously, it's his life flash before his eyes. Is there a tease at the? I'm not seeing the newest one, but this obviously spoils the ending of that. But is there like a tease that he might be alive, or is it like no, he's dead? He's very clearly dead.
He's shot.
The like trajectory of this franchise has been so interesting to me, because you had the original show, people didn't like the ending, so they did a sequel series, and then they ended it the way that they thought people wanted, and obviously either people didn't actually want that, or that just did so well that they've made this prequel series, but it's also somewhat of a sequel thing, and then you're gonna have an actual sequel. It's just it's so all over the place, but I love it. In terms of like the actual show, I think it does the actual like prequel parts. I wasn't crazy about. I think it's very like on the nose in terms of like the casting. Like it's just feels like you've just got other actors to play those characters. Like the guy with the hash, like the guy that wears the Tommy Bahama shirts all the time. Yeah. It's just a guy that looks like him. It's just a younger guy. You know what I mean? It's too on the nose, I feel like.
I mean, that sounds like bollocks to me. What do you mean it's too?
I love me some Christian Slater.
Younger versions of the characters,
but also like
Buffy the Vampire Slayer in it, James. It's got Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I thought she looked good in it, and I thought Patrick Dempsey looks great in it. He's obviously like some kind of detective character. So that looks really fun. I'm not convinced on this main guy yet.
I've not seen him in anything else.
I've not seen him either, but just from this, I don't buy it yet. I love Christian Slater.
Yeah. Did you watch Dexter? Have you watched Dexter?
I watched the original show. I didn't watch the sequel series. But like James Remar plays his dad in that show, and like I think even there's scenes with their kids, and it's James Remar. So like like trying to accepting Christian Slater in that role is going to be kind of hard. But I love Christian Slater, so I'm happy to see him. I'll watch this because he's in that. This could go either way for me. I wasn't like super stoked watching it, but I think it could be really great. I'm curious if this must be a one and done. Then it's just a mini series.
I presume so. Yeah.
Because like you said, 100%, it's going to end with him like waking up in the hospital and escaping. And that leads into. I think it's a clever way to make people watch this.
I think it's really clever.
It's really clever. Like, because you have to watch it for the next season of Dexter to make sense. Like, so there might be some like storyline tie-ins, I think, as well.
Yeah. Fuzzy saying the reboot we needed was one about Lithgow's character. Yeah, that would have been superb. Absolutely superb.
Yeah. Was there a rumor or something that character is going to be?
There's talk about that at some point.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Younger version of him.
Yeah. And Dead Man, I said before, I lost interest when he was talking to his dead sister, being as he should never have killed her. Yeah, that's very true. I agree with Fuzzy. John Lithgow was a nasty. He was superb in it. Absolutely superb in it. Dexter at its peak was some of the best television you'll get. Yeah. But like most series that go on for a long time, it had some shit in it as well.
I think like season 1 to 4, 5 was peak. Like that was just incredible. Like the early seasons especially.
The last series, I can't remember which one it was called. I think you might be right, First Blood or something like that. Was okay. Then it introduces his son. It's got an interesting kind of main bad guy in it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's in Fuzzy's right. Tremendous opening titles. I hope they redo that because I missed that. Didn't do that. I think Fuzzy in the last in the sequel. Yeah, I don't think so. Right. So yeah, looking forward to this one. Stuff you watched recently. You watched Doc of Chucky.
I did. So I reported that this was 3.5 hours. Last episode. It's not. It's actually nearly 5 hours. So this is Doc of Chucky. So this is on Shudder. This is from the same team that did Crystal Lake Memories and Elm Street Legacy, which is my favorite documentary. So it's fantastic. Like it really is. Really like for 5 hours, you just fly through it. It's so easy, like well broken down. Like it's really like an hour and a half of the first movie, and then kind of each movie successfully gets shorter. But like it's just an interesting kind of insight into kind of the people behind the movies. There's some drama in some of the films in terms of the people involved in that. So I think that's really interesting. It doesn't shy away from that. So it's just and they get almost everybody on board for it. Like Don Mancini's obviously a big part of it. Brad Dourif, Fiona Dourif, Jennifer Tilly, Tom Holland, who directed the original. All the directors, I think. Just very, very in depth. I think the only kind of negative for me is that it doesn't talk about the remake, which I thought I would have liked to have heard like Don Mancini's kind of opinions on that, like Mark Hamill's kind of feeling stepping into that role and stuff like that, and like the kind of behind the scenes drama of that. And then it also doesn't talk about the show, which I thought was very unusual because you have like almost everybody involved in it here, for this. So I thought that was kind of strange, unless they maybe filmed it and that'll be a separate
maybe
thing.
We have 5.5 hours. They're starting to probably think what the shit can we cut from this. You know what I mean?
Elm Street Legacy is about the same, and Crystal Lake Memories is like 7 or 8 hours, I think, because like they go in depth on how each kill was done and stuff. So when you have the show, I think that's a lot. So yeah, like, but there's not even a reference that the show exists, which I thought was kind of strange. So it just does the first 6 movies. But if you're a fan of Chucky, this is a great watch. Like I would really strongly recommend it. So they're some of the most fun documentaries you can watch.
No, I'm not. Not a big enough fan to invest 5.5 hours into this.
I loved Tom Holland just because of like obviously Chucky, but Fright Night. I love Tom Holland, and this made me think he's a bit of a dick.
Okay.
Because he like effectively tried to steal Chucky away from like Don Mancini. He's like tried to claim sole creatorship of the character. A dick move.
Good. Well, if you're a Chucky fan, give this a watch and let me know what you think. And then we've got Heretic. So we've both now seen Heretic, starring Hugh Grant. I love this. I thought this was great. I thought this was a really interesting movie. Different kind of horror for us in terms of we've seen a lot of blood and guts and squashing and stuff lately. This has very little of that really until the last kind of 15, 20 minutes or so. This is more psychological kind of cat and mouse game. I think it's got some incredibly intelligent writing in it, and there are some scenes in this which just made the hair on the back of my arms stand up. Hugh Grant is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal in this. What do you think of it, James?
Absolutely loved it, man. I thought it was fantastic. I think it's a film that really keeps you guessing. I think you just feel the tension of it. Like it's obviously it follows these two Mormon girls who kind of go house to house, like trying to convert people, and this man tries to like challenge that. So like there's some really amazing kind of arguments that he makes in terms of like there's particularly one part that both of us have talked about behind the scenes. It's like an analogy using like board games, using Monopoly.
Yeah, Monopoly.
Of like all the different religions and stuff. And I just thought that was like oh wow. And then one of the characters retorts to that, and I'm like, oh yeah, I suppose you're right. You know, so like I thought it was really fun, just so sharply written. There's a lot of surprises in it, I thought, in terms of like we won't do spoilers here, but like who the lead kind of character of the film is kind of shifts at a certain point. I thought that was great. Hugh Grant is just phenomenal. Like he's charming but like sinister at the same time. Like, that's a really hard thing to nail for people. So for actors. So yeah, I thought this was great. Like I didn't know where it was gonna go throughout it, and as it kept going, I was like, oh, interesting. And then it kind of moves away from that and back towards another thing. And yeah, it's a real windy kind of roller coaster, this one.
Yeah.
You know? So it's I thought it was great.
If you like your religious horror, so if you like to be challenged and think about kind of the backgrounds of religion and why we believe what we believe and stuff, I think this is a really clever film. I think it poses a lot of interesting questions, and it never really weighs down one side of the belief system. Do you know what I mean? Saying you shouldn't or you should believe. It just keeps posing question after question, which make you kind of think, which I thought was really interesting. And there's a Jar Jar Binks reference in it, which totally threw me.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Very, very charming lead actresses, I think, in it as well. I thought they were both put in very great performances. But yeah, just keeps you guessing the whole way through. I thought it was really edge of your seat stuff.
So that's Heretic. I think both me and James would recommend you check this out at the cinemas or when it comes out on DVD. Really, really interesting film. And just for Hugh's performance, it is amazing. Okay, just before we move on, just want to quickly jump to the chat and go slightly off kilter in regards to horror. Fuzzy of the Dunlop is asking, Keega's seen the new Star Wars show? Thoughts?
I have not.
We're talking about it before the show. Fuzzy, James is going to hopefully get to it soon. I know me and you exchanged some messages today about it. Back down, I'm not going to give any spoilers. I think me and Fuzzy both had the same thoughts. I don't want to say... Goonies is what comes to mind, but Goonies I feel is elevated higher than this. It felt to me quite a kid friendly kind of thing. I wouldn't have been surprised if I'd been watching this in the 80s. It's like a space romp kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? That was PG, made by Disney or something.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is Goonies elevated because you watched that as
probably
a kid?
Probably. If I go back and watch it now, it'll probably be very similar.
Exactly. And this, or like I've never seen Goonies, so like if I go back and watch it, am I going to be I know
you've never seen Goonies?
It's one of those. That's one of the big ones that like.
How can you say you've never seen Goonies? Yeah, this for me suffers with a lot of this kind of movie show does in terms of it's lovely having young people in acting parts. But sometimes as an older man, they're kind of great, and you think, oh, do you know what I mean? Sometimes the acting's not as good as it could be. That said, these guys and this team are pretty interesting. I don't think this is designed for my age demographic, and if it gets younger people into Star Wars, fantastic. And I'm always mindful. I know I'm rambling here, but I'm always mindful as well that we keep banging on about Star Wars doing something different, give us something new. This absolutely is something new. This is a kind of a space adventure romp kind of thing, for kids. So I can't be cross at that. I will definitely be watching on. It's half hour. It's an easy watch for half hour,
Yeah. Has it introduced a villain yet?
I don't want to spoil things, but there are pirates and things involved. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to say, if you like as I know most people watching this probably do, if you like your Star Wars practical effects, this is great. It's got some stunning creature designs, and again, trying not to spoil it. I'm not as in depth with Star Wars as you are, James, but this is the first time I think I've seen like a Star Wars universe suburban kind of family that you would say, oh, this is a bit like Earth. Do you know what I mean? It's
right. Okay.
It's a row of houses and an estate they're going to school and stuff like that. So that was the first time I've seen that in the Star Wars universe. And I thought that's good because normally it's just kind of dark and dreary bloody planets with sand. So I did appreciate that. Batman, shame, but from the trailer, probably what we expected. Yeah, I think it is aimed at a younger audience. But it's got, what's the lead actor in it again? Can't remember his name. It's got Jude Law, and I like Jude Law, so interested to see what he does. When I was in England, I believed more in religion. Jesus Christ, is it good? Yeah, well done. I like that. It looks spectacular, great fuzzy, better than anything I saw on Ahsoka and Acolyte. Visually looks cinematic. Yeah, I would agree with all of that, fuzzy. Okay, end topic, James. We're in December now, so we are approaching the festive season. We're getting near to Christmas. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about Christmas-related horror movies. There are some that jump to mind. We've talked about some already on One Good Scare. So we've talked about Silent Night. We've talked about Gremlins. Krampus, I don't think we've done yet. That might be a one to do for Christmas.
That was on the cards last year, I remember. It was between that or Black Christmas, and we chose Black Christmas, I think. So we're only gonna
I tried to forget about that one. I thought, Jesus.
Dog Soldiers is up next for I'll Be Right Back. Yeah. So I actually didn't realize that was going to extend this far into December, or I would have just put a Christmas movie instead, but we've already kind of teased them. Both of us have watched already, so we'll do that, and then we'll have one Christmas movie probably for we might try and squeeze two in if there's 2 Fridays maybe at the end of the month. But I already know what we're doing for the Christmas one, so
it's a nice partnership. I'm glad you already know.
You'll be happy. Hey man, I sent you the schedule. We got a schedule. We've gone so far off of that over the last few months, just because things shift, But yeah.
So when you think of a Christmas horror, what do you jump to? Where's your mind go?
I mean, Killer Santa is kind of the thing that you jump. Like for me, like the most iconic Christmas horror thing is that Silent Night, Deadly Night poster where it's
coming out the chimney.
The chimney, with the hand and the axe. So like that's that. Like I prefer like slasher is my favorite horror genre, so I lean more into that than I would like the kind of Krampus-y mythical stuff. That said, I've become a massive Gremlins fan since we did it last year for I'll Be Right Back. So like I'm that's showing in the cinema. I think it's the 40th anniversary this year, so I'm gonna try and get to see that again. It's actually on, one of my mates is seeing it right now, but it's on later in the week as well. So I love my Gremlins. I think they're great as well.
I love Gremlins as well. Fuzzy saying at this point he's more committed to this show. Thank you very much, Fuzzy. We do appreciate that, mate. We do appreciate it. I watched Krampus last year, I think, when you talked about it or mentioned it to us, and it was all right. What I've done for this, I've had a quick look at a few different sites and things like that. I'm not doing the ratings because I always get grief about the ratings. So I've just picked out a few Christmas horror. So I just wanted to see if you've heard of them, if you've watched these ones before. Okay. The Lodge, I'd never heard of this one, but this one sounds really interesting. Superb, slow, melting psychological horror film about an unnerved woman who spends a few days alone in her new fiance's children and sees a shining cabin fever with an added dose of modern surrealism. Let me know in the chat if you guys have seen any of these movies, because that's a one that I'd never heard of before. But she says she's a sole survivor of a suicide cult, and she's raised with, I can't even read that, my eyesight's terrible, PTSD and PTA, as the movie raises the question, is she losing her mind or are her children just terrible? Right. This one came up on a lot of different kind of recommendations to check it out. So it's a one that I might check out, to be honest. I might have a little look at, but not a one I'd heard of before. Better Watch Out is not a one I'd heard of before.
I've heard amazing things about it, but I've not seen it yet. So I'll give that a watch probably this Christmas season, I think. I've heard great things.
The first line gets us. Have you ever wondered what Home Alone would be like with an R rating?
Exactly.
That sounds pretty interesting to me. So blending dark comedy with some truly horrific moments. It's a complex and psychotic game of mousetrap where a boy and his babysitter encounter uninvited visitors. See, that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I do like the sound of that.
I've heard nothing but incredible stuff about it. So it's fantastic. So I'll check that one out.
And then I saw the image for the Christmas Story one. Again, not a one I've heard of, but Krampus is very popular. So You seen that one?
I have seen that one. I remember very little from it. I think we had a few beers and watched this one. I remember seeing Krampus in it. I remember William Shatner being in it, but I don't really remember much else from it.
So William Shatner being in it is immediate plus for me. So, and it's an anthology. So it says, what do Krampus, a horde of undead elves, bloodthirsty changelings, and William Shatner have in common? All part of this horror anthology. So I read that and I thought, why have I not seen this? This sounds like something I would definitely go for.
Like a trick or treat Christmas version.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be checking that one out. It's 2015 as well, so it's a relatively new movie, I guess. So
yeah, I think it's on Amazon actually. I don't know anyone. It looks very low. I mean, you got Shatner in there, I suppose. But that's,
Shatner only does low budget these days. I mean, do you know what I mean? He's the Shat. But yeah. I'll probably check that one out. Yeah, let's have a look. Next, we've got Krampus. We've just talked about Krampus. I wasn't blown away by it, I have to say. But it was good. I think I probably need to give it a watch again. I think I watched that when I had COVID during the pandemic. And I think I maybe didn't give it a full go. I think I was expecting it to be more horror, and it didn't feel that horrific to me.
Yeah, it's got like a fairy tale-y kind of, it does feel like a classic Christmas story, but with a horror spin on it, rather like it's very much in the spirit of Christmas rather than being a straight horror movie. But I think that's a lot of the charm of it, like it captures the Christmas spirit. Yeah. I enjoy that.
And then this one, Rare Exports A Christmas Tale, again is a one that seemed to be highly recommended in lots of different sites. And again, I don't think I've heard of that one. Basically, they dig up what they think is the original Santa. It's a dark fantasy that has slayed reindeers, missing children, and a grimly funny take on the legend you thought you knew. But that one seemed to come up on 3 or 4 different lists when I was flicking through the lists. So, again, not a one that I've heard of. Same with Inside. This seemed to be really mentioned an awful lot. New wave French horror films, not for the faint of heart. Movies like High Tension, blah blah blah.
So High Tension is another name for that Switchblade. That's that crappy French one.
That one, I hate.
High Tension or Switchblade romance, which I didn't like.
It's about a woman who tries to steal an unborn baby right out of another woman. Sounds nice. More twists in a candy cane inside a gut-wrenching nightmare if you have the stomach for it. I'm not sure that one's for me. Yeah. And then we've got good old Black Christmas.
I've not seen the original. I've only seen
have reviewed the shitty
2006
remake,
which I like.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But we haven't seen the original. So, and I hadn't realised that the amazing Margot Kidder was in it. So
lead actress in it, yeah. It's a seminal horror movie. Like it came before Halloween and everything, and it is like a classic slasher kind of thing. So like it very much. I don't know if it inspired Halloween, but it came at the same time as Texas Chainsaw, and those two kind of led to Halloween, and then Friday the 13th and all that. So like I don't know if the slasher genre would necessarily exist without it.
We'll have to give that one a go. I'd like to watch the original. I think I would like to watch it.
I would like to squeeze that one in if we get a chance to. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. Then we've got Silent Night, Deadly Night, which we've already talked about, and you can see a full review of that over on our channel. I think we both really enjoyed that far more than we thought we would, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was going to be dog shit, and we both came away and we were both like, I liked it. Did you like it? Yeah. And then we just started gushing about it for the whole thing. Like, I love how serious it takes certain things in it, and a certain story kind of beats. It tackles some themes and some kind of story ideas that I wasn't expecting, and handles it very delicately and seriously. And I thought that was really interesting for like a silly slasher film. I thought it was very ahead of its time, I think, as well. So yeah, I'd strongly recommend that.
Yeah, it's a good one. And then the last one appeared on pretty much every list, very, very high up, and I've never heard of it. This is Anna and the Apocalypse from 2017. It's a musical about a Christmas zombie outbreak. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it. I didn't know it was a Christmas movie, and I didn't know it was a musical. I just thought it was sort of like a Zombieland-esque kind of film. I didn't realize it was. That sounds more up my alley than I thought
does.
it was, actually.
I know. So again, that's the one I might have to check out and see. So anyway, that's some Christmas horror movies for you to have a look at over the festive period if you do so desire. And that's your whack. That's the end of the show. Anything you want to add, James? What's coming up on the channel? What have we got going on?
We have our I'll be back on Dog Soldiers coming up in the next week or so, and then
I'm interested. Sorry, I'm interested to see what you thought of Dog Soldiers, because I watched it again. I watched it originally. You've never seen it before.
Never seen it before.
I watched it last night or the night before, and my son watched it with it. So I got his take on it as well.
Right, curious to see what he thought of it, because it is very of its time, I think. So we got that. We'll have another. I'll be back probably towards the end of the year, hopefully in time for Christmas, and then we'll have our end of year kind of awards sort of thing, best of 2024. I've kept a list throughout the year of some of the like category nominees, and it's like, wow, there's some really great, it's a really heated year this time. I think I'm very curious about, like, because there's so many great, like last year I think both of us very much felt like Talk to Me is the best one this year. I think it's kind of, there's 4 or 5 different contenders, I think, for this one. So
swear to God, if you put that bollocks of the bloke wandering through the forest for an hour and a half on any list other than Shitfest of the year, I'm walking. I'm not. You can do the show.
Just for you, Pete, I'll add Shitfest of the year, and then I won't put it on. I'll put Imaginary on instead. So we'll have that for the end of the year, and we'll have another live show and everything, I think, by then as well. So.
Good stuff. Okay, thank you very much to everybody that's watching, and we really do appreciate your support. This show doesn't get tons of viewers live, but the ones we do get are some of our favorites. So thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Mr. Keegan, is there anything you want to say before we go?
Well, Peter, it's not Halloween. It's actually almost Christmas, but I still think everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Everyone's entitled.